What's up, everybody? It's me, Josh, Relentless Motorsports. I'm currently working on my 1994 Toyota Supra. It's still got the GE in it. Machine shop's taking forever with the GT, and I wish I could run my standalone, but I don't feel like hooking all that up and configuring it for a GE. Anyway, the other day I developed a weird issue. Like, the car just started, like, idling how it wanted and surging and then stumbling. And I noticed I took a little freaking plastic handled screwdriver and took the soft plastic handle and kind of tapped the idle air control. And I noticed it kind of started going. I noticed that it hung up. And this is a common problem on JZs, 1UZs, 4AGEs, anything that uses a Toyota motor that uses a stepper motor, kind of like this. Idle air control valve. If you're on a stock ECU, unfortunately, you have to use that. You can't go to a Ford 2-wire one. I'm going to be running a Ford 2-wire one off of like an Explorer with the standalone ECU. Standalone ECU can calibrate it, whatever, to run it. Factory ECU, no can do. Stepper motor one's really good. It's just they're expensive when they break, and you can rebuild them, but it's not always feasible. It just really depends on condition and a bunch of factors. So, on that, I want to let you guys know, I'm going to make this little video. I made a video about taking IAC apart before. I took one off of my 2JZ GTE intake manifold for my new motor. There's a piece in it that's broken, so I'm going to have to use some parts of the GE and like combine them together and make a good one if I wind up using it. But I'm going to probably run a 2-wire Ford IAC, the little diaphragm style cylinder one, not a stepper motor. 2 wires versus 6 wires. Buy it at the local junkyard. You can buy it at the local auto parts store here in Texas. We got O'Reilly's and AutoZone. We also have the Ford dealership. Let's face it, we're in Texas where everything's American. There's Ford dealerships everywhere. So, makes life a little more convenient, makes things a little more accessible, a little more feasible. It's a lot cheaper than a Toyota one. I believe last time I priced one of these bad boys out from Toyota was like freaking $400 or $500. You can get a factory Toyota one from Toyota or from Ford, I believe, for like $120. Big difference. I'm like you guys, if I can get the same quality part or something that's actually a little bit better for less, you'd have to be an idiot not to go for it. I hear you. So today I'm going to make a little video on the IAC, and I'm going to explain how it comes apart, how it goes together, and hopefully it helps you guys. I'm all for teaching you guys some stuff, some little things. So let's get it going. I propped my phone I'm recording up with on my work light base, so hopefully you guys can see me. So I already pulled it apart. This is one off of an extra motor I have here. This isn't the one off my car. I was hoping I could swap it out because I'm waiting for parts to rebuild my other one. And they're not going to be here for like 2 weeks. And I have a huge car meet that I want to go to this weekend with a bunch of my friends, considering I'm going to have to go for another kidneys procedure, and I'm going to be down for a little while. So before I go do that lovely BS with the, don't even get me started with the medical industry. No disrespect if you're a nurse, a doctor, whatever. I mean, hats off to you guys. You're intelligent. You guys save lives. I hate the politics in your industry, and I hate the industry, period. Anyway, it's a long story. I'm not here to talk about that. It's going to really irritate me and kind of set me off. So let's not talk about the shit. So let's talk about IAC, idle air control valve. This one is a Aisin idle speed control made by Aisin, Japan. Aisin, same company that makes a lot of other parts in your 90s Toyotas. They make some spot parts in other Japanese model cars as well. I believe Honda's use some stuff like that. So this is the idle air control valve. It consists of one bearing, another bearing, a plastic composite plunger, a conical shaped like beehive spring, this crazy looking like wave washer deal, kind of little disc. Looks like something out of an anime game. Some screws with a little bit of thread locker on it. I had to use a really good tip screwdriver to get that out and not strip it. And then you have the 2 screws that hold it onto the intake, onto the side of the throttle body on a GE. On a GTE motor, they're held on with actual, if I remember correctly, it's been so long since I pulled one off, with 10 millimeter bolts that go into the intake manifold. This has the same bolt shank as a 10 millimeter bolt, or maybe not. No, it's a little bit. Here's a Toyota 10, a little different. Anyway, this is more like an ECU screw. Like these. What do you know? It's all Aisin, Denso. It's all Japanese stuff, so very similar parts used. Probably buy from the same supplier of the screws. I'm sure there's not many people over in the country that make screws, so pull this apart to check condition and clean it. Turns out this one is just as much of a... Actually, it's more of a heaping pile of junk at this current time before it gets fixed as my last unit. So also, another part, you guys, the O-ring. You got your stepper motor base. You got the brass bushing in it. You have the stepper motor with the armature, which is just copper windings. It's electromagnet in there. And then you have this thing, which is a helical gear, which kind of looks like a grub screw. It's kind of hard to see. My camera won't focus. And then you have a little slightly keyed top area. It's got a little notch in it. And yeah, that's your idle air control valve. So I'm going to show you guys how to put it together. Taking it apart is the exact opposite. Feel free to watch the video as many times as you need. It helps me with my views, and hopefully it helps you fix your stuff. So I pulled it apart to clean it. Granted, I would normally use brake cleaner, but I'm here in the ECU rebuilding room at the shop. So I'm using isopropyl alcohol, which is, in my opinion, just as good as brake cleaner in a lot of cases. Just doesn't evaporate as quickly. So, clean up a little bit of funk that's in here. Carbon builds up in here. And it can cause issues with conductivity and functionality of it. And over time, just like carbon buildup in a motor, it can damage, it can gum up moving parts. Like this bearing. This bearing is toast. I wish you guys could feel it. Spinning it, you could feel it. It's chunky. And I don't know if you guys can hear it. I don't even know where the microphone is on this. You can literally hear the ball bearing screaming in it. The one on the car is just as much of a piece of junk as this one. These bearings you can find online. You look them up. They have a part number on the side of the bearing. This one here, the bigger bearing, and this is out of a 2JZ GE non-VVTi. It's a 6... It's hard to see. Looks like it says 6802 with the letter Z at the end. That's one bearing. It's made by Koyo Japan, or NSK Bearings Japan. And then the little bearing is made by the same people, and it is 634Z as in zebra. There you go. There it is. Those are your bearings. So now I'm going to explain how this contraption, this monstrosity of over-engineering goes back together. So, you have your little beveled edge, the small one. Notice the spring. It's a keeper to hold the spring centered. Spring goes in there. Your little helical gear bushing, which is magnetic, also goes up into the deal, just like that. Your armature, or your plunger, I mean, is threaded inside. It slides in here. Make sure you key it in. If you look, I'll take this apart one more time. If you look, the brass bushing is shaped like a cross. So make sure that when you key your bushing in, your deal in, it's shaped accordingly. It's like a puzzle piece. Hopefully you guys know how to do puzzles. This thing goes together, and that spring lets it articulate and helps stop, kind of dampens vibration and whatnot. Now this piece here, which is threaded down inside the little collar there, which it won't focus, goes onto the back. I like to take the plunger, push it up, and this goes and it screws down. Now this will simulate how it moves in the car. So this is fully home, retracted, and then the electromagnet setup and the stepper motor work with this magnet, and it articulates. It comes out. That would make the idle, I believe, go up, and then it would start closing the vacuum leak that it forms, which would cause the idle to go down. And it can kind of adjust itself accordingly, as you can see. So that goes in. When you put it back together, make sure, just gently turn it. You'll break it. Don't be iron hands over here. Make sure it's cleaned of contaminants and carbon. Now you have your plastic O-ring spacer. I don't know if this was supposed to be rubber at one time and it's just hard because it's old, or if it's actually plastic. It feels like ABS plastic. And it is delicate. Be careful. So this slides down into the groove. Take it and just kind of hold it and kind of work it in there. It'll eventually slide in and kind of hold itself in there. Now, I made a boo-boo. I forgot to put the bearing in. So we're going to take this back out. Don't mind me. I'm trying to teach you guys, and I don't know what I'm doing myself. Anyway, this bearing kind of fits tightly on that, and then that sits like that. Okay. That's how it should look, guys. Don't be an idiot like me. Get it right the first time. Then this little wave washer deal. The little curvatures where the little fingers, which you can kind of see they point up very poorly. It doesn't want to focus. I'm using a dental style pick to put it on. I'm going to push it up there. And then I'm going to line it up in here and let it fall. As you can see, it sits in there and it puts upward tension on the top of this. This smaller bearing sits up here in this keyed section. Why that thing's keyed beats the ever-loving snot out of me, considering there's nothing correlating to a key in it. But hey, it's Toyota. They've done worse. They do some crazy stuff. They're smarter than I am, but. So once that's all together, be careful because this is magnetic. So is this. You're going to want to kind of hold them together. Oops. As you see, it's magnetic. A little spring deal. Ooh, I got lucky. It fell right in place the first time. So what you're going to do is I'll show you in a minute. You're going to want to slide it together. Now, this thing only kind of one way with the flange, because at least on the GE, because the holes are kind of slightly machined off center from one another. So you can spin it, and as you can probably see, the bolt holes are not lining up. Wait, I think I got it. And when it fits the right orientation and it's clocked accordingly, like so, you'll have your screws line up, and then you take your little tiny gold screws and they go in these holes. Do not over tighten them. The bolts are a steel, zinc plated steel, and they're screwing into a piece of aluminum. A little bit of machining and engineering here. So when you have a harder metal versus a softer metal, the harder metal, especially when you're screwing something in, it'll pull the threads out of the softer metal. Or it'll pull the threads off the bolt, depending on what's made out of what. So when you take it in, put it in, just be careful. I don't know where my other little screwdriver went. I might be able to use this. This kind of works. I don't know where the other screwdriver went. My work table's a disaster. Slightly bigger. Take these. Kind of snug them down. And then when you're done, you could take your normal full-size screwdriver, which I don't have here with me right now on the workbench. It's in the front shop. And you can snug these down, but remember, you can strip them. I am not taking responsibility for that. That is on you. You break it, it's your baby. Own up to it. Anyway, there it is, all assembled. There's your idle air control valve. And yeah, I was going to go put this on my car, but this one's no bueno. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this one back in this bag that I'm here. And it's going to sit until my replacement bearings come, and then I'm going to rebuild it. Hopefully it solves my issue. Anyway, if this video's helped you, please like and subscribe. If you like anything automotive electronics rebuilt, hit me up at relentlessmotorsportstx.com, or you can email me at salesrmstx@gmail.com. Let me set this down on my computer table back here. There we go. And that's pretty much sums up this video. If you like to geek out over automotive electronics, like this Toyota Supra fuel pump ECU of an earlier Mark IV Supra, Series 1 Mark IV Supra. This thing's so cumbersome. Such a pain in the butt to work on. Anyway, if you like seeing stuff like this, check my video out. I make videos about stuff like that all the time. Also, on the other hand, if you like Mark IV Supras, exotic cars, Toyota Sauras, drifting, and just people liking cars like you can watch me too. I'm about to start having a lot of content with the build of my car getting ready to be started. My Mark IV Supra, I've done some stuff on it, like Strass Forge wheels. Check them guys out. They're Miami-based custom wheel company, Strass Forge. Chris, good guy. Sparco seats. Everybody knows Sparcos, man. Brian had them in his Supra. Plus many other cool people have Sparcos. It's the hot leg. So are Recaro, but the Sparcos are next level. I love them more than the Recaros in my SC. And then, you get some HKS coilovers. Shout out to the guys over at HKS in Japan. And it's got a Tomei titanium exhaust on it, which sounds like a dump truck right now on a GE motor. But hey, it's still cool. Looks good. Kind of prettier when it's sitting still and not making noise. But maybe I'm just getting old. And then it's got a bunch of stuff from TBT Carbon Works over in the Dominican Republic. Great guy. And soon it'll have a bunch of other stuff. Also, it's got a Granis T56 Magnum 6-speed. Shout out to Joel Granis. See, I'm a car guy, just like you guys. If you guys are in the Jay-Z shit, I'm your man. I'm Johnny on the spot. Anyway, hope you like this video. And like I said, give me a like and subscribe, or I'm going to come pay you a visit. Anyway, later, let me get back to doing what I'm doing. And peace out. Enjoy your weekend. Later, guys.